Okay, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's virtual meeting of the Traffic and Road Safety Advisory Panel. Present are members and advisors of the panel and council officers. Can I refer members and officers to the published protocols for holding virtual meetings? Please note the following. Members of the panel should ensure they have their videos on at all times, or put microphones on mute unless speaking. Other members, advisors and officers should switch off their videos and put microphones on mute until they are invited to speak. In case of a technical problem, the meeting will adjourn until the issue is resolved. If the technical problem persists and the meeting is in quorum, the meeting will be abandoned and rearranged for a later date. The meeting is being audio and video recorded and will be available to watch or listen to on the website. Would members of the panel, including advisors, raise their hand from the function bar to indicate they want to speak? Please switch off your mobile phones or put them on silent. Okay. Right. Okay. So can we go to the agenda then, please? Can I see reserved members first of all, please?
Yeah.
Sassy?
Yes, I'm reserving for Councillor Lee.
Okay. James Lee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I am reserving for Councillor Hinckley.
Right. Okay. Right. So you're both welcome to the meeting this evening. Right. Can I also welcome two new councillors who have been put on TARSUP? That's Councillor Dean Gilligan, Councillor Rima Marika, although Dean doesn't appear to be here today. He is on the TARSUP panel, so hopefully he'll be either come a bit later or at the next meeting. And can I also welcome Veronica Chamberlain, who is the new advisor for Harrow cyclists. Can I also thank councillors David Perry and Pamana Assad, who were on TARSUP the last couple of years but have now left to move on to other roles within the council. Although I can't imagine what's more exciting than being on TARSUP. Well, there you are. And also Anup Shah, who has stood down from the cyclist group and has been replaced by Veronica. I'd like to just thank them for all the work they've done over the past few years. Right, okay. Can we then move on to the declarations of interest? I think this was circulated in advance, so I hope that everybody's returned the form if they had any. Are there any declarations of interest still to declare at all? Sassy?
Yeah, Chair. Item number 9, page 18, petition 5.
Yeah.
The Northumberland Road. My brother lives there, so it's a non-pecuniary interest. And there's a second one is item 10, page 37, Canterbury Road, CPZ consultation. I'm the ward councillor for Headstone South.
Right. Thank you. Right. Are there any more declarations of interest at all? No. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, I just wanted to say Kenton Road is on agenda, but if it's Kenton West part of Kenton Road, then I'm the ward councillor. But Kenton Road is such a long road, so when we come to the agenda, I'll declare a non-pecuniary interest if I have to.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Vina. And Joanna.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure. whether we have to declare an interest if we are a ward, councillor, for example, September way, and things like that would be coming on the agenda. But is it a declaring interest? As far as I'm concerned, you're representing a ward. So how can you declare everything that comes in your ward? Sometimes you may not even remember. So I actually legal department, exactly. Okay, I want legal department to actually come back to me in writing what I have to declare as far as my ward is concerned, and what do I not declare, because I don't want to waste time by declaring everything, which is not even relevant. So okay, that's my question to the legal department.
I don't know if officers here can comment.
Park High School is another thing that we are going to be discussing. So it's in my ward, but
yeah, well, I think we covered virtually the whole of Harrow tonight. So
exactly. So I think it is not right, and I want a clarification on it. So hopefully we can get a clarification in writing from the legal department. Okay. Is what I'm looking for. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Amit, you've got your hand up.
I just want to second Councillor Patel's point. If we are declaring our ward interest, then obviously I will as well. But some clarity there would be very helpful.
Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Andrew, can you put that in the minutes, please? And then yes. All right. And so we'll get some clarification. Thank you very much. Right. So, I mean, do you still want to say something? No. Okay. Right. Okay. That's declaration of interest. Right. Okay. Now, item 3 now is appointment of vice chair. David Perry was the vice chair, so he's now. So we always appoint a new vice chair in the new municipal year. So can I seek nominations for vice chair? Angela.
I would like to nominate Councillor Amit Jogia to be a vice chairman.
Right. Okay.
Because I think that would be better on this particular panel, because it is to do with road traffic and non-political.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Ben, are you?
I'm seconding that.
Right, Sassy.
Yeah, I'd like to appoint Councillor Kramer America as the vice chair, please. Thank you.
Okay. I would second that. So we have 2 nominations, so we have to have a vote on that. Andrew, I mean, do we have to go through the whole list, or can we assume that the Labour group will support Karima?
Probably be best if we go through and do a proper vote.
Okay. Right. So it's all yours, Andrew.
Okay. So Councillor Miles, who would you be voting for?
Councillor Karima.
Thank you. Councillor Marika. Okay, Councillor Marika, you're on mute.
I'm voting for myself. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Amit Jogia.
I'd like to vote for myself, please.
Councillor Patel.
I'm voting for Councillor Amit Jogia, because he's an experienced councillor on TARSEC for many years.
Thank you. Councillor Suresh.
I'm supporting Councillor Karima Maria.
Right. Okay. Right. So that's
Councillor Mitani.
I'd like to nominate. I'd like to vote for Councillor Joga, and I've been on this panel for years and years, and he has always been vice chair, and I think I really am not happy for this change. And I think he should have one from each party and not make it partisan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Veena. Chair, can we make sure that people don't overtalk each other? Can you make sure that people don't overtalk each other, please, Chair?
All right. I think Karima was a chair of TARSAP anyway, so she has got the experience. Right, Andrew. So what's that? 3-3, is it?
Sorry, Chair.
You're mute, Andrew.
Bum, 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 bum. I think it's 3-3, so we'll have to go into extra time now, I think. I imagine that I have I can have a chair's vote if it's 3-3. Andrew.
Sorry, Chair. I just dropped out there and I missed a bit. Can I just re-clarify it? Sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So Councillor Joggia, you voted for yourself. Councillor Patel voted for Councillor Joggia. Councillor Miles, you voted for Councillor Marika.
Yeah.
Councillor Marika, you voted for yourself. Councillor Suresh.
Yeah. Andrew.
Councillor Suresh.
Yeah.
Voted for Marika.
Yes.
Councillor Matani voted for
Councillor Joggia. Sorry, Andrew, your voice is breaking up. I couldn't hear what you said.
And Councillor Patel voted.
Andrew, it is 3-3. We already know that.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Yeah.
do I have a chair?
Okay.
Do I have
Yeah,
a chair
so then
casting
it will
vote?
be down to the chair.
Right,
Yes,
so
Chair.
I'll vote again for Karima Marikar then, and she will be the vice chair. Okay. Sorry, Emmett. Right. Okay.
Does the chair vote count twice then on that?
Sorry.
Is
Yeah.
it quite.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Your time will come, Emmett. I'm sure we'll be chair one day or leader of the council or something like that. Right. Okay. Right. Can we move on then to appointment of advisors? I would like to say something following the appointment of the two advisors, but can we agree that Tony Wood and Veronica Chamberlain are both agreed as advisors for this municipal year 21-22? Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Right. The other thing I'd like to do is conduct a review of advisors, as we do have two vacancies at the moment, both from Living Streets and HAD, and I would like to do a review on whether these two organisations can nominate anybody, or if they're still they should still put forward advisors, or if there's any other groups we could look at to appoint advisors to TARSAP, and I'll suggest that we reports back to a future meeting, because I'm not happy with carrying two vacancies at the moment. So I think we need to review the set of advisors that we have going forward.
Chair.
And Joanna, then
I did put my hand up as soon as you started this number 4 appointment. I have no problem with the 2 appointments that we have got. Only thing is that I've been saying that for a long time, and I have been promised that something will be done as far as the representation from the motorist is concerned, and that Mark Billington was going to look at, or his team was going to look at the businesses. And we've got a lot of businesses around this area, and have somebody on as an advisory team. And I personally feel that that is only fair as we have got other representation, that we should have somebody from the motorist, and especially after having a big blunder on LTN, I think it is very important to have somebody from the motorist, and it is good for all of us. And that should be done independently and not asking whoever is here already as an advisor to ask, them to look for somebody else, is my view. Thank you.
Right, okay, John. I mean, I haven't heard anything from Mark Billington, so which is why I'm suggesting we have a review. I can speak to Mark Billington and any other people who have got suggestions to put forward. Okay.
I'm sorry, Chair, to intervene again. It is a shame, but because this has been going on for a long time,
yes,
and this suggestion has been made, but nobody has done anything. Is another.
I think this is exactly why we need to clarify things and sort it out once and for all. Ami,
thank you, Chair.
Then Karina, Ami.
Quickly follow up from Councillor Patel's what she said, that we've had it at TARSAP a few times, public questions, and it's been minuted as well that the panel should seek representations from motorists, and it has been, we've had a few requests. So in the next review, if we could, I think, support those, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, right. Okay, right. Karima?
Jerry, I think you're the chair of this panel. I think we as councillors sitting in the panel do understand how you take it. You can chair it and take it further, right? We have the cyclists and we have the advisors, and then take it from there. It can be not spoken at this panel. We can send an email to you and get it sorted out. It has been spoken. This is a panel to sort out the traffic issues. The chair, you have in control. You started. It is repeating the same thing is not necessary, because the community is watching this, and we'll go on.
Well, that's why I suggested we do it and come forward with proposals. Right, thank you. And John, you want to come back again?
Yes, I do, Chair. We sit on this panel as an independent people because we are elected, and so we have a say, and we will speak. And we will represent the residents of this borough. And for that, I think that councillors should mind how they speak about other councillors. We know you are a chair and we respect you. And you know, Jerry, that I respect you very well. But it is not what you say goes, but it is everybody else who have a say in it as well. So in future, I really hope that people are not talking to other councillors in a manner that they are talking. Thank you. Right. And I have all faith in you that you will follow this up fully. And that's what we asked you to do last time as well, Chair. Okay. Thank you.
Well, I'll try and take it forward, but I'll be really grateful if people don't talk over other councillors or attack other councillors, during the meeting. Okay. Right, thank you. Okay, so I'll take that forward and we'll look at that in a future meeting. Right, item 5. Oh God. The minutes of the 22nd of April. Are the minutes agreed? Yes, good. Right, I shall sign those at some point, I suppose. Right, public questions. Right, I think we've got 11 less public questions than last time. So there's no public questions are being put forward tonight. So we can move on to item 7, which is petitions. Amit, I think you've got a petition.
Thank you, Chair, for allowing this request at short notice. I'd like to present a petition on behalf of the Sri Lankan Muslim Cultural Centre, and the petition reads as follows. We, the undersigned, call on Harrow Council and the TARSAP Committee to review the draconian controlled parking zone, which is operating from 8 AM to midnight, 7 days a week in Whitefriars Avenue, Graham Road, Wolseley Road, and all side roads. And I have a copy of the petition, which I'll email in to Andrew after the meeting.
Right, okay, that'll be passed on to Corporate Director of Community. That will come back to the next meeting. That rings a bell, though. Barry or David, we've looked at this already, haven't we? Have we received another petition on previous occasion?
Chair, we've literally just put in the scheme in that area because, at the request of ward councillors and going through the programme,
Right.
So I think it's only been operational for a month or two. So it might be a bit premature to start making changes, but we can certainly, start talking to stakeholders and trying to understand the issues.
Normally review it. Is it 6 months or a year?
Yes, that's right, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
Right.
Chair.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to the next meeting. Karima again.
Chair, I am handing over 2 petitions to the cabinet because it has to be heard by the cabinet, but I should
Okay.
coming here. So I would like these officers to and the chair to take that petition to notice and implement that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're going to cabinet meeting tomorrow, yeah?
Yes.
And
yes.
that will probably be referred back to us. So
Yes.
we'll look at those at the next meeting. Right. Okay. Right. Thank you. Any more petitions from councillors or members of the public? Nope. Right. Okay. Deputations. Again, there are no deputations tonight. So if we move on to, I think we've basically just got 2 information reports tonight. And if we take the first one, which is petitions, Barry.
Yes, thank you.
Just going to go through these fairly briefly, if you can.
Yes, certainly. So we had 6 petitions since the last TARSAT meeting, and I'll go through petitions in order. So the first one we received was Royston Park Road, request for traffic calming measures. This was already discussed at the previous panel meeting, and it was agreed that we would use some of the funding from the local transport fund to implement measures or consult and find out if residents wanted for us to implement measures for traffic calming in their road. The consultation is ongoing at the moment. As soon as we have the results, we'll discuss that with the local members and the portfolio holder before a decision is taken as to if the scheme goes ahead or not. Petition number 2 was for Rainsford Close. This was a request for an extension of hours. It's already in the Stanmore, one of the Stanmore CBZ zones. And I will refer to other petitions we've received as well for controlled parking zones. So if I just move on, and I'll explain at the end what we intend to do with all of them.
Yeah, sure.
The third one was Winley Gardens in Pinner. That's a request also for controlled parking zone. Stanmore Hill, again, this is in Stanmore, request to change the hours of operation of the CPZ to actually extend them. And the final petition number 6, was Cannons Drive, again, request for a CPZ. Now, what we do with all petitions is that we assess them all. We carry out a process as we do for all of them, so it's consistent. We rank and score them, and we present that information to the panel normally it's the February meeting just before the new financial year. It depends. I'm not quite sure what the agenda is for next year, whether it's February or March, but it'll be around about that time next year. So we'll have all the petitions that we received, all the requests we've had for parking controls, and that will be presented to members, and members can make a decision going forward as to what the programme will be for 22-23. The final petition we received was from petition number 5 was Northumberland Road. It's a campaign for better road safety. I think this came to us via Gareth Thomas. It was in the form of a letter and a consultation sort of leaflet. There was a consultation done internally by residents in Northumberland Road requesting some form of traffic calming in that particular area. They also mentioned highway maintenance as well, and that was referred to our highway maintenance team for consideration. With all these requests, again, we look at the number of personal injury accidents. All our funding for road safety schemes comes from Transport for London, as members will probably know. It's been a difficult period for us to get funding from Transport for London, and I'm sure you'll find out later on in the next report, the progress report, a little bit more information about where we are with our programmes. So in terms of Northumberland Road, it's got a very good road safety record. It wouldn't be a priority for us because we have other roads in the borough which do have unfortunately higher injury accident rates, and we prioritise those over others. So, Chair, that's the 6 petitions we received, and hopefully that gives you a flavour of what we do. Thank you very much.
Right, okay. So the majority of ones we're just going to consider at the meeting in February or March, really, aren't we? So
yeah,
we have to go through the assessment.
Correct. That's correct.
Right, thanks very much, Barry. Are there any questions or comments on those? Amit, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Barry, for that update. I had a few comments from Councillor Hinckley, who cannot be with us this evening, regarding the first one on petition for Royston Park. I know it's currently going through consultation, but Councillor Hinckley is concerned that the speeding measures, I know they've been requested, but residents feel it's a bit of an overkill with 11 sets in, between 700 metres, and they've I think all of them will put in for a request for a 20-mile-per-hour zone. I'm sure all of this will come out on the consultation, but I just wanted to flag it now.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful. I think I've had separate discussions with Councillor Hinckley regarding the scheme, and I'm aware of what some of the residents' feelings are. It's difficult for me to comment further, really, because I haven't seen all the results and the comments, so I can't really give you a judgment. All I can say is that the scheme's been designed in line with the Department for Transport guidance on speed cushions, and the locations are determined over normally a 60 to 80 metre length. So I think someone said the other day that the whole length of Royston Park Road is something like 700 odd metres or something. But we've complied with the guidance. So what you do with speed cushion measures is you make them consistently. The distance apart is consistent, so it means that people have it encourages smooth driving behaviour, so you don't have stop-start driving. Also, if you had a cushion, for example, over 100 metres, another one over 50 metres, there may be a temptation to go a bit faster in between. And we do know about the request for a 21-hour limit or zone, and we felt that we'd like to do a more comprehensive scheme throughout the whole of the area. And by putting this measure in Royston Park, if that's what we do, that would help to slow traffic down there, and then we could look at the surrounding area as well for a 20-mile-an-hour zone over a more holistic area, if you like, a wider area. Right. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, right. Is that all right, Amit? Right. Are there any other questions or comments? No, everybody okay with that? Right, smashing. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Can we move on to the other information report, which is traffic and parking schemes update? I think it has got a bit complicated because of the way the funding has been utilised over 2021 and 21-22. But David, can you try and guide us through this if possible?
Okay, thank you, Chair. All right, so the progress report provides you with information about all of the traffic and parking schemes in the programme, so that you can see everything that is occurring and work out what its status is. The parking management programme is set out in Appendix A. There are about 7 or 8 schemes that have carried forward from last year into this year. So and that's partly because of the delays that were caused through the coronavirus situation. So it has slowed progress. There are a number of new schemes that the panel have agreed to included as well. So what you'll find is a lot of those existing parking schemes are going through their statutory consultation stage. So the proposals are developed, but we're doing the legal side of things. And some development work has started on the new schemes. So that's the parking programme. The transportation programme, as Jerry has explained, is a little bit more complicated because the coronavirus situation caused Transport for London lots of financial difficulties. Last year and this year, we've been receiving our funding in all sorts of different chunks over different periods of time for different purposes. And to try to make it easier for the panel to understand what has been delivered last year and this year, I've tried to set it out in different appendices. So in Appendix B, we have last year's programme. In fact, it might be easier if I share my screen.
Oh,
okay. If that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, let me just bear with me a second. Right. Okay, I hope you can see that. So Appendix B.
Yeah.
And there are a number of different tables. So Table 1, we actually received money for the Street Space programme in the first half of the year, so between April and September. And so I don't need to explain what was in the street space programme, because I'm sure everybody understands that. The only schemes that remain are the 4 school street schemes, and all the other initiatives were removed. We also had funding provided directly from the Department for Transport over the same period. This funded the 3 cycle schemes. Again, those have already been removed. We also received via Transport for London monies for further street space schemes, or tranche 2. That money was released in January and was going to fund 6 school street schemes, but those schemes have now been abandoned. I think we did do a consultation on the 6 proposed schemes and decided that they wouldn't be taken further forward. And then in table 4, we actually, in the I'm still talking about last year at this point in time, the last 6 months of last year, we actually were able to deliver some of the proposals in our LIP programme. And so this sets out some of the schemes that we did. So we did some 20-mile-per-hour zones. There was a new pedestrian crossing in Stretford Road. So some of the other proposals were mainly just development only. So the 20-mile-per-hour zones and the pedestrian crossing were the ones that were delivered. Appendix 3, or C, sorry, talks about this year. Now, in this year, we've only received an initial sum of funding to cover April and May. It was around about £220,000. To put that in context, we would normally receive about 1.3 million for the year. So it was really just an initial sum of funding in order for us to take forward or start developing projects that are in our programme for this year. We are expecting that TfL will advise us at the end of the month what allocations we will receive between June and December. December only takes us up to the comprehensive spending review, which was as far as the government was prepared to fund TfL. And then depending on what happens in that review, there may be a third allocation for the year made between January and March. So you can see receiving our money in bits over the course of the year actually makes it really, really difficult for us to deliver programmes. But the base programme is basically the agreed programme that we agreed with TfL just after Christmas. So as I say, it's a 1.3 million programme. We've only received £221,000 so far. And then this table gives you an idea of the status of the projects that we have at this point in time. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of where we are with the funding. At this point in time, we haven't actually delivered, or probably won't be able to deliver, any projects until we get confirmation on funding between June and December. But we have developed projects in the programme so that we would be able to take them forward if that funding is confirmed. Okay, thank you, Chair. I'm open to questions now.
Thank you very much, David, for that. Right. Are there any questions or comments at all? I've got Amit first, then Amit, Veena, then Veronica. Amit, you're first.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to raise some concerns that we've had around the school streets consultation, because we feel the scheme was in relation to the pandemic, and you know, it's been very stop-start, so schools haven't been carrying on as normal, and you know, sorry about that. And
hello.
So you know, when there's no point having a consultation if we don't know how it's going to react, because schools haven't opened properly yet. That was my point. Sorry about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the consultation feedback, unfortunately, every school, the residents around every school were against it, unfortunately. So we found the feedback was quite negative, and which is why we didn't proceed with the tranche 2. But David, do you want to add anything to that at all?
No, I don't think there's much to add. I would say there is an appendix which you will have seen in the report that gives you all the details and feedback from these School Streets 2 consultations, so you would be able to have a look and see what the feedback was like. Generally, it was, depends on how you read the results. There's a lot of information there. You'll find in some schools, where there are bigger problems, some of the residents were more supportive, but you might find that people living outside of the area were less supportive. It's really a case of how you want to analyse it and how you want to which stakeholders you want to focus on. But generally speaking, overall, it seemed to be more negative than positive, and I think that's the reason that the schemes were abandoned.
Okay, thanks, David. Vina, I think you were next. Vina.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the bus lane. I know it can sort of take more people, but the one in Willstone, I was just wondering what time it's going to be bus lane and has, I don't know, do you need to consult? That area gets really congested even otherwise, and with that bus lane, I just drove through the other day and I have my severe sort of doubts how the congestion will occur. And as it is, pollution and asthma is known for it. We've got a lot of buildings around that, and it's been proven that asthma can affect even children. So can you just, if you have timings, I'd love to hear what time the bus lane is going to be operating from.
Yeah, well, I think they've already started work in Willstone, but David.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. That's what I'm waiting.
Okay. So the Willstone Town Centre scheme is going to be quite a long time before the whole project is finished, and you can see how it's intended to operate. The George Gangeway works with that central bus lane. That's only phase 1. They're currently on phase 2 by the station. There are 8 phases in total. So it's not going to be until the end of the financial year, early 2022, before we all see the scheme completed and operational. Now, as far as the bus lane goes, of course, the bus lane is in the middle of the road. It's located where there used to be hatching road markings and traffic islands. So it's not going to have an impact on the 2 traffic lanes because they're basically the same as they were. All you'll do is you'll have the buses running in the middle of the road, and they will turn right into Canning Road into a bus corridor and then get access into the high street in that direction. Now, the transport modelling that's been done that underpins that scheme shows big improvements in network performance, reductions in delays and congestion, and potentially reductions in any emissions-based issues such as the ones that you were talking about. So when it's all done, operating properly, it should be an improvement for buses and an improvement in terms of air quality and all sorts of improvement for pedestrians as well.
Sorry, how will it improve the air quality if we have pollution?
Well, I mean,
and please don't say we'll have ULEZ introduced.
No. I'm simply saying that if vehicles are not delayed, i.e. sitting stationary and emitting emissions, if traffic is moving more freely, then you will end up with less air pollution.
I have personally experienced that's why I'm bringing it up here, and I've got my concerns. That's why with traffic flow, has anyone been around rush hour? Not during school holidays, but otherwise peak hours. I do understand. And see, please, if
what I'm trying to say is that
go and do study, that would be great help.
Okay.
So we're talking about a future state that you haven't seen yet. You have to see the scheme completed to be able to judge the traffic conditions that will result. Now, we know that from the transport modelling, but of course you can't tell that now because we haven't got there yet. Okay, that's the thing I'm trying to clarify. Thank you, Chair.
Right, in the end,
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Verena. Right, I've got Veronica and Jana, then Tony. So, Veronica, I think you first.
Chair, thank you very much. I have a question and I also have some comments to make later, which I presume you'd like separately. Is that correct?
No, you might as well, you know,
Do the whole lot, yeah?
all this, yeah, do it at once, yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. So firstly, this is a really general question about the programme as a whole, and it refers to the Local Transport Note 120, which, as members will probably know, is a requirement for cycle infrastructure standards. And when it was launched last year, and the Minister said, to receive government funding for local highways investment, where the main element is not cycling and walking, there will be a presumption that schemes must deliver or improve cycling infrastructure to the standards in this local transport note, unless it can be shown that there is little or no need for cycling in the particular highway scheme. So what I want to ask is, does the council adhere and is committed to LTN 120, because that appears to be the way that we will get funding for future schemes?
David, can you respond to that at all?
Well, the answer is yes. We take account of all of the guidance that was issued by government, by Department for Transport. So we do carefully review all stakeholders whenever we develop a project, and we're mindful of our wider objectives in our transport local implementation plan, which is focused on improving sustainable transport modes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair.
Your comment, Chair.
So yeah, my comments. So the first one I'd like to make is on item 2.6, which is includes the list of schemes in Appendix B. And you've mentioned walking pedestrian crossings and a feasibility study about the Noah Hill Junction. And it's just talking about walking and pedestrians. So can we include cycling provision in that feasibility study and a link to the North Harrow cycle path? So that is my comment on that one.
Okay.
And moving on to page 46, road safety education in the same section. This is obviously to be welcomed, and bearing in mind the hierarchy of danger, where motor vehicles are at the top of the danger hierarchy. Will you be teaching drivers to drive safely around cyclists and other vulnerable road users, and particularly looking at speeds and exceeding speed limits, close passing, mobile phone use, and going in advanced stop lines? And that, to my mind, would be useful in terms of driver education. So moving on to section 2.16, which is on the electric charging point. This is of extreme concern. If you look in the design is in Appendix E, page 51. I'm not clear that there's been any risk assessment done on the effect on cyclists of this development. The drivers who want electric charging will have to cross the cycle lane. That would put cyclists in danger on its own. Then there's the risk of dooring, because as soon as they've parked their car, they will probably get out of it straight into the cyclist path and open the door. And we know there's a lot of drivers open their door without looking. So, and thirdly, the installation of this charging point will make it more difficult to have a proper segregated cycle lane in the future. And this is part of the Northern Cycle Route. So I can't see how this conforms to LTN 120. So that's my comment on that one. Thirdly, Royston Park Road, which was mentioned earlier. Thank you very much for the comments. And obviously it's great that you're tackling the rat running situation. But speed cushions can be very dangerous and not effective. I mean, I think we all know that many vehicles have wide wheelbases and they just drive over them. And so they don't slow them down at all, frankly. So it doesn't seem to be a very effective way of dealing with the rat running. And it's not at all inclusive. There doesn't appear to have been an equality impact assessment on the use of speed cushions, because they are very dangerous for disabled cyclists who are using adapted cycles like tricycles and four-wheelers and so on, because they will simply tilt on these speed cushions. It really isn't a good idea at all. And cargo bikes are the same thing. So I don't feel it's meeting the public sector equality duty. LTN 120 says that all sorts of cycles should be free to use schemes. They should be easy and comfortable to ride. Speed cushions are not. And I'd recommend sinusoidal humps with cycle bypasses wide enough for all cycles to use on that road. And it would seem to me much more effective and much safer for everybody. Fourthly, looking at 2.19 school streets, I mean, clearly that was very disappointing that the consultation should have been followed up in that way. I just draw your attention to the fact that all those, the people coming by car or motorbike to these schools ranged from 23% at St John Fisher to 62% at Camrose. So you're looking basically at a car-based respondent population. And why all these people driving to school? Maybe it's not really their local school. Children are being prevented from cycling and walking. So I do hope that this will be reviewed in terms of road safety for those children. And lastly, Chair, thank you for your forbearance. So looking at 2.23, which is about the Goodwill to All junction. Now, I know that this was sent back because it wasn't found to be successful. Thousands of residents north of the Goodwill to All junction will be relying on cycling and walking because there will be very little parking in those developments. Now, the previous designs had no impact on safety for cyclists. There was no provision for safety at all. So I do hope when they're reviewed that cycling will be included in this junction, because without it, all those residents will be shortchanged. They will need to cycle from those developments to Harrow Wealdstone Station or North Harrow Station, and the Goodwill will be crucial to cycle safety. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks, Veronica. I think we'll note your comments. David, do you want to respond to anything, or you just note the comments that Veronica has said?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I mean, all the comments are noted. The only one I would say, yeah, with regard to speed cushions, I think that we do have a lot of schemes that use the speed cushions, and probably one of the main factors that's led us to choose that measure has been the impact on ambulances, the fact that you know, they seem to have a better impact on ambulances when they're carrying patients in terms of the impact on spinal injuries and that sort of thing. But you know, I take your point that there's a much wider range of stakeholders to consider, so we can always review future schemes on that basis.
Okay, right, thanks, David. Right, I've got Anjana, Tony, then Vina again. Anjana, I think you're next.
Thank you, Chair. I do welcome some of the comment, Veronica, you made, and they are obviously very important. I'll pick on a couple of them because I think this is the department which actually does the assessment when the planning application is put in for all this big development. And when they say it is a car-free development, then obviously have to look at the way of public transport, including cycling. And I totally agree with you because I drive down that way where the Kodak development is going on both sides of the Kodak. And if we're looking at anything to do with cycling or a cycle lane or anything like that there, it is just impossible because it's a very, very narrow road that we've got there. And even the footpath is very narrow on the side of where the development is. There's hardly any footpath to just walk. So that's a good point. And I hope that in future, the Department of Transport, David Berry and his team will look at things like this very carefully, that there is a space to do all this stuff before they say it is a car-free development, which has been encouraged by everyone. And I also encourage it, but then you have to provide residents with another source of transport. I'm going back to the schools program, and I agree that you have decided not to go along with tranche 2. Absolutely no problem with that at the moment, but there wasn't a very good consultation. And who were we doing this for? If we were doing it for children to use the other source and parents not to use their car, and Park High being a secondary school, I'm only going to talk about Park High because I know more about it, then we have felt that we haven't been able to do that. Now, to me, it looks more like we are not even enforcing. So what is the point on having this scheme where we are not even enforcing, or we are not even, making sure that people don't do that and don't bring their cars and whatever not. To me, it looks more like for the residents, not to, and people who actually visit the residents, who are not allowed to go at certain time of the hour and whatnot. So I personally feel that it is the residents who are penalized in this scheme, and if nothing has changed. So this is my comment, and hopefully we will take this on board whenever we're doing a consultation, and hope that consultation is very clear as well. The questions that we ask, we have to give people a choice of yes or no as well. And not always asking a rounded question or roundabout question that we get the answer that we want to hear or we want to do. And that is my comment about any consultation, but especially when it's to do with schools or any other consultation. But yes, that is what I would like to say. There are other things, but I will actually speak to the officer directly when it comes to other things that I want to mention to them.
Okay.
Privately.
Thanks very much, Joanna. That's great. Tony, I think you're still
Thank
there.
you, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody
asked earlier about the timing of the bus lane. My understanding when I asked TfL was there's a 24-hour one. The bus lane will be 24 hours. But David might be able to confirm that that's still the case.
You're correct. It will be at any time bus lane.
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is that Tony? Right, great. Okay, thank you. Veena, then Karima. Veena. I think you're on mute. You're on mute, Veena.
Sorry, I was muted. I just wanted to go back as the Willstone bus lane was mentioned. I had raised that question. Do we really need 24-hour bus lane? Could we not just make it peak hour? And can that be also sort of revisited? Sometimes I see hardly any buses going, and then there's so much congestion for motorists. And as we do not have any motorists on this panel, they cannot air their view. But as a motorist and going through various areas, I feel we really need to see whether we need 24-hour. I like the one at Hillingdon where they've got this markings when there's no buses or something, the lights come on towards going to the airport. So if something like that can be introduced in Harrow, that would be great. And my next point, main question, was about the LTNs, which were introduced as a temporary sort of measures, and they've been sort of like removed. So that is there any money left over or you can't use? And have we lost all that money and in fact wasted taxpayers' money on unthoughtful sort of schemes, which literally Harrow residents hated it. And eventually, because of the pressure group, it's been removed. So in future, if we do come to any of these projects, can we do proper feasibility study and not waste taxpayers' money? And especially now, the money is an object everywhere. So this is my comment.
Thanks,
that's all I've said.
It wasn't our money, it was TfL grant, but I suppose we sent
TfL is also public money.
We sent it back to them, so I'm sure they'll probably use it for.
Oh, so that's fine. On
Right,
that,
okay.
because occasionally I've been told that it cannot be used. So I was just making that point.
All right, great. Okay, so what have we got now? Karima, then Tony again, then Joanna. Karima.
Chair, I just want to say that Councillor Veena Mithani's point in Willstone bus lane, I totally agree in that point, because when the bus lane was sorted out, when they were doing that, the bus route was changed and even the cars were going in one route. There was no congestions. But when the COVID is going to finish and go normality, and that bus lane turning into that lane will cause a lot of issues. So I think Councillor Veena Mithani took a very good point. And I think I would ask humbly, Chair, and the lovely officers to consider it on that side. Thank you.
That'll be taken on board. I'm glad Korean and Vina agree on something. That's really good. Right, okay. Right, sorry, can I just bring in David before we move on again?
Quite a lot of discussion about the bus lane. I have to sort of clarify the situation with that. I mean, the millions of pounds of investment being provided by Transport for London for this scheme is based on an agreed design. It has to have. It's gone through a very, very extensive business case. You'll all know this because you've had many, many briefings on this over the years. And it's based around a certain level of performance, and it requires that design in order to justify the investment. All I would really say is it's very, very difficult for you to see how this is going to operate until it is finished. So if I know it's a long time for a scheme to be built, but it's such a big project, and it's, you know, because it's affecting the centre of Wealdstone, we have to try to construct it in such a way that we minimise the impacts on local people and local businesses. So it's going to take a while to do it, but you'll have a much better idea of how it's going to work once we get to the end, and then it might be better to try and pass judgment on it at that point. Thank you.
I think so. Right, I've got Tony then and John. Tony.
What I was going to say, David's actually just said, so I'll just say I endorse what David says. The TfL are very keen on 24-hour bus lanes, and I think you'll watch this space. I think you're going to see more in London.
Right, okay, thanks, right, Tony and John. You want to move, and John?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to come back on the LTN and the funding. The funding actually was used to implement it and then to take it out. So taxpayers' money has been wasted as far as putting all the LTN in and then taking it out and cycle lane and whatever not. So we have wasted taxpayers' money. It doesn't matter whether it is coming from TfL or wherever it is coming from. And we were very clear about it. Residents were very clear about it, that they didn't want it, but nobody was listening. The second thing is, whatever money would have gone back would have only gone back for the school program and other things, which is only right that we don't apply for that funding, because we haven't actually done. We have done a job, but I don't think we have done a very good job on the schools program, and maybe that is why we had to send that money back. Maybe it would have worked better in some schools which are in roads, but main road schools would never work as far as the school program is concerned. So yes, as far as I'm concerned, we have wasted taxpayers' money. Is all I want to say. Thank you.
John, right. Are there any other comments or questions on the traffic and parking at all? No? Everybody okay? Right. Oh, amazingly, that brings us nearly to the end of the agenda, and it's only about half seven. So I haven't been notified of any other business at all. Oh, Anjana, you've got some business.
We haven't been. It's nothing about any other business. I just want to reinforce that it is minuted, that we have, that whoever is supposed to be looking at it will look at it, a representation from us, from a motorist point of view, an advisor. This has been going on since last June. So hopefully we will have something constructive from the officer and the Labour administration, the motorist.
Right.
Please, that is what I want to minute. If it can be minuted, please. Thank you very much.
I think that, yeah, thank you. I think Andrew will minute that, and we'll, as I say, we'll review it and move forward in that and come back to a future meeting. Right, is there any other urgent business at all? No. Well, can I thank everybody for attending tonight, and the officers and the members for their comments and questions. The next meeting will be on the 19th of October. At 6:30. I'm not sure yet if that'll be a virtual or face-to-face meeting, but obviously we'll be guided in due course. and I hope you'll manage to have some sort of enjoyable summer break over the next few weeks. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Chair,
Okay.
and thank you, Veronica and Tony, to be an advisor. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you all.